Tony Van Heerden from Velixo. Sorry if I've said that wrong, Tony. I just know you as Tony.
All
Tony, who
good.
I catch up with all the time. And we've also got Ben Robinson from Acacia. Ben is our customer success manager and is in charge of our help desk as well. So please take a note of what they're talking about, because there's a lot of information that you're about to hear. So over to you, Ben and Tony.
Thank you, Di. So good afternoon, everyone. Obviously, for those of you who might not know me, my name is Ben. I'm the Client Services Manager here at Acacia Consulting. And today we're going to talk about Velixo. So I'll be your host for our 45-minute session. So Velixo is a tool that connects your MYOB Acumatica ERP data directly to Microsoft Excel. So I'm sure you can imagine there are extensive use cases for this functionality. And as we're going to demonstrate to you today, it allows your business to save time and also the risk of manual errors in your manual processing. Ultimately, then you have more time to analyze the data that you're working with on a day-to-day basis and make better business decisions. So that's what it's all about. So in today's agenda, we're going to start with a client showcase. So it's going to be an Acacia client. It's going to give some really key insights into how you can implement Velixo with MYOB Acumatica. Then we're going to move on to a demonstration of the software with Tony. And then at the end, we're going to have a quick Q&A session. So you're going to have a chance to get any of your questions answered. Feel free to put questions into the chat throughout the session. We will try to answer them as we go, but if we don't get to them, we'll definitely get to them into the Q&A at the end of the session. And then right at the end of the session, we're going to do a raffle for the Velixo prize. So we'll see who gets that one. Very exciting. Alrighty, so just before we jump into today's session, we're going to run a quick poll just to see where some of you guys are at. So I'm just going to launch that one now. So just as that comes through, it might be taking a little bit of time. But when it comes to exporting and or importing data between MYOB, Acumatica and Excel, what best describes your current situation? Are you manually exporting and importing data every time? It's time consuming. You already have Excel models set up, but refreshing them is still a manual process. You've tried to automate it, but it's inconsistent and unreliable. You've got a live connection and it works well. Or you're not sure, someone else manages this in your business. So I'm just confirming there that the poll has come through.
Yes, yep, Ben, I'm starting to see results on the screen, and it's pretty amazing what we're seeing. I'm assuming that the people are saying we've got a live connection and it works well are using Velixo.
we definitely got a few of those.
Oh no, okay.
Okay, so it looks like most of the results are coming through that you're manually exporting and importing every time, and it is time consuming. So I guess that might have been something that we were expecting. So that's good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run through our agenda today. So I'm going to hand it over to Tony, and she's going to run through the client showcase, which is Giuseppe from Kingpin Motor. So take it away, Tony.
Thank you so much, Ben, and thanks, Di, for the warm introductions and the opportunity to present Velixo today. We were very fortunate, myself and Ben, a week or so ago, to have an amazing conversation. Giuseppe Esposito is a CPA, is the finance manager and also general manager at Kingpin Motor. And I'll just do a little bit of an intro here around Kingpin. They have been servicing the motor industry for over 25 years and are regarded as the leading supplier of number plate protection and enhancement across Australia. Kingpin manufactures and decorates locally in Melbourne and utilises services of some of the top moulding companies in Australia. So we know they are the #1 name in dealership advertising products across Australia. And this was very great to be able to have that opportunity to catch up and talk to Giuseppe. So we asked him a few questions, and we have now a short video to play as we captured some of the amazing experience that Giuseppe has to share with you. So I'm just jumping over to another screen and we'll play the recording.
What were the pain points in your business that led you to implement Velixo?
With our previous ERP system, we relied heavily on exporting data into Excel and manipulating to produce management reports. It was time consuming, involved maintaining multiple spreadsheets, multiple exports, merging, just repeating the same work every reporting period. So we wanted to retain the flexibility of using Excel, which our finance team was already familiar with. But eliminate the need for manual exports by connecting directly to live ERP data.
What's your favourite use case?
The biggest advantage for us is having that live data directly inside Excel. We can refresh reports whenever we need it without, exporting that data or trying to rebuild spreadsheets. The other thing we use in Velixo is the drill down functionality, which we find extremely useful, especially when analysing our expenses in our profit and loss. We can drill down on an expense and investigate why an expense is blown out of proportion, and that's really good because we can answer our queries from management, and it gives us the confidence to be able to do that. Our favourite use case, I guess, is our intercompany cost allocation process. Before Velixo, this process involved exporting data from our ERP system, manually applying allocation percentages, checking the calculations, then preparing the journals. Using Velixo, we were able to build a template that actually retrieves the transactions from Acumatica, applies the correct allocation percentages based on our allocation matrix. It calculates the journals for us, prepares the information ready to be written back into MYOB. The process is much faster, far less manual.
Yep.
And because the calculations are standardised, we've got much greater confidence that the allocations are accurate and consistent every month.
What benefits and return on investment are you seeing from Velixo?
I think the biggest benefit for our finance team currently is that we're spending less time preparing the information and much more time analysing, the results and supporting better business decisions as a result. Because as a business continues to grow and our business is constantly growing, we've been able to keep our reporting processes efficient, without adding more manual work. One of our biggest improvements has been in our supplier payment process. So we had a report that we built that we call a payment processing report, which identifies outstanding supplier invoices based on their due dates. So it generates a list of payments to be made and then allows for that information to be uploaded directly into MYOB Acumatica, a finance teams. It's actually become our primary reporting tool. So
right.
So it gives management access to timely information through, for example, our weekly and monthly sales reports, which I provide management with. Financial reporting every month. We supply it by division, by entity. We consolidate it. Stock on hand reports are there at a click of a button. And also our outstanding purchase order reports, and other operational reports that, they all can be directly refreshed, from our live ERP data in MYOB.
What would you say to another MYOB Acumatica customer who's still exporting data manually?
If you're still exporting the data into Excel every month and, you're manually updating reports, you're probably spending more time than you realise on all this repetitive work. So, yes, I think, Velixo lets you keep using Excel, which most finance teams know well anyway. So it just allows you to connect to your data, to your MYOB data. And it just means fewer manual processes, more accurate reporting, and much faster access to information. The learning curve is quite manageable because you're also working in a familiar Excel environment. So once you've built a report, refreshing it is just a click away. Yep. But for us, it's allowed the finance team to focus less on preparing reports and more on understanding the numbers.
So I just wanted to tell everybody that short clip of 5 minutes was actually taken from a half-hour conversation. So whilst Giuseppe's mouth may have been moving slightly out of time to the voice, we didn't think you'd actually want to sit through half an hour of Giuseppe speaking. So that's why it was a little bit choppy. Sorry, over to you, Tony.
Thank you, Di. Yeah, I think it's so great to hear these stories from customers using software and finding these benefits. So just a bit of a background here before I get in to show you some of those Velixo features. Today across 25 countries, we have over 3,500 customers. Here in Australia and New Zealand, we're sitting around 800 Velixo customers in the MYOB Acumatica space. So very excited to be able to present the product to you today. As Di mentioned, our founder, Gabriel Michaud, is very passionate about the space, and some of the new features that I will talk about today is a demonstration of his relentless energy that he continues to put into the product. So, we are rated #1 on the app marketplace across the ecosystem we talk in, and a lot of the scores that we get on that G2 platform is something we're very proud of. This is customers reviewing the product and commenting on, is it easy to use? Does it offer efficiencies? These are all the benefits that we're about. So some of the challenges that you might be dealing with in your business, in the MYOB Acumatica space, there are some standard reports, there's generic inquiries, so there's some flexibility in what you already have to work with. But we often get customers saying that it doesn't quite give us the filters we might need, the additional columns of data, those pre-built reports come fairly standard, and you need to stop the bus, go and talk to the IT team or get your partner involved to go and rebuild one of those reports. Very manual to update those MYOB reports. So this is the first area of just that little bit of flexibility that you don't have. And then, as we've heard, lots of customers do find ways to grab the data, whether it's using a generic inquiry and dumping it into Excel. You feel fairly in charge of being able to then slice and create the pivots you need. But what happens is this data is no longer real time. So you're having to copy and paste it or copy and waste every month, every time when you need to do that analysis. So I'll show you a number of templates today that would talk specifically about this area. The third challenge that we know exists is everybody is time poor, and you want to focus on the jobs that really make your profitability go up in your business. Normally, that's not the data entry piece. You want to just get that done. And so what we see is not just mistakes that are made, but it takes a lot of time to get that data through some of those screens. So this could be your monthly journals, your budgets, but it could also be data in any application of those modules. So it could be inventory prices and customer details and orders, quotes, lots of areas where you might be thinking about this manual data entry. So our goal is to bring your Excel and your ERP, which is MYOB Acumatica, worlds closer together and mean that you can work in Excel, but much smarter and faster. So just a couple of points I'll talk to here. We want to get into the product and spend as much time as we can showing you all the features. We are an Excel add-in. There's no data warehouse with Velixo. So this is one way where there's no sync process that you need to think about. What's very important to note is inside your Excel sheet, you will create a secure connection to your MYOB Acumatica data using your MYOB logins that you already have. So this is an important aspect of how Velixo ensures that only the right users get to access the data that they are authorized to access in Excel, and you don't have to set up any more security. So lots of great features we'll cover off. And then finally, before we jump to the demo, just want to make sure that we are not just a financial report writing tool. So often this is where customers start the journey with Velixo, but as you can see, we handle anything relating to reporting, data automation, and all of the other use cases. So let's jump out of our slides and let's start taking you through a number of features. So a couple of things I want to show you today. As you can see, I'm in Excel. I have my Velixo NX option that basically you just go over to your add-ins in Microsoft and you'll be able to find the Velixo NX application and add that in. The first thing that you will do is in Connection Manager, you'll go and configure your connection. Now, you can, when you set this up, give it any name that you would like to call this connection, but essentially that's where you're going to plug in your URL to your MYOB Acumatica data, and then your username and password. As you can see, we also support single sign-on. So this is an important option as you move towards that within MYOB. Now, once you have that connection, if you do run multiple entities or multiple tenants across entities across tenants, you can create multiple connections in your workbook, and that will enable you to bring data together in a single worksheet from multiple companies. Okay, so nice and simple. Now, within that company, you can have branch data, you can have cost centers, whatever has been set up for you. The first thing to note is a bunch of these Velixo functions. So these are the unique formulas that Velixo will add into Excel that will enable you to extract the financial data from your MYOB system that you would like. So we have a function called account turnover. We have a separate function for closing balances. We have list functions. These are all documented on the Velixo website and really easy to start learning and integrate into your reports. Okay, so that's the first kind of functional concept. When you set up your reports, you'll be able to then have your filters and your drop downs all retrieving that live data. So as you can see, every time I change that parameter, my green arrow is indicating that new data is being fetched. Now, you've got budget ledgers. So if those have been updated in MYOB with budget information, you can then use our account turnover function and accessing the budget ledger that you wish, retrieve the budget information. We'll talk a little bit more about budgets, but just as you can see how you can then build your financial reports, current month, year to date, prior year, anything that you really would like to analyze. So there's a number of different ways that you can specify your GL account ranges and your groupings. It could be the account classes that you've set up in Acumatica. It could be an actual range within your GL account numbers. So as you start building out your required layout, there's a lot of flexibility to achieve that that you require. We spoke about drill down. I think Giuseppe mentioned loves the drill down. So I'll just demonstrate that. Right click, Velixo drill down option. This is so that you can gain the confidence when you are looking at your numbers. Maybe something doesn't quite look right and you want to just get that next level of detail. So you'll see a drill down sheet will open up and you have access to all the underlying transactions that were posted by account to that specific line that you clicked on. So these drill downs will just keep opening up depending. You can also access them from any of the summary lines like the EBITDA, which one that I'm clicking on right now, and another tab will open up with all of the drill down info that you're looking at for that one. Okay, so quickly you can make sure that you're happy with the numbers you're looking at. Now, further drill down is available on these tabs. So you'll see that in column C, you have a hyperlink, and this just takes you back to the source. So we love this way that it feels like you're working in one system here. When you're doing your journals, when you're checking your reports, you are looking at the same set of numbers. This is the single source of truth. Within Excel, you don't have copies of these numbers at a point in time. They are the live data. And our customers love that ability to switch between, MYOB Acumatica and your reports. Now, we do have a number of templates that you can download. You'll see this one, it gives you the option to have your branches side by side. It could be companies that you want to look at. You have a rolling 12-month view. These are all just different layouts of the same information. Okay, we like to talk about dashboards as well. I know just recently at the MYOB Discover Live event, there were some amazing dashboards with inside MYOB, and I love how you can, as users, start building and dragging in features and things that you would like to see metrics. Just like when you're pulling up your management packs and you're building out those decks for your teams, it could be sales reports. You want to trend those. You want to look at, your gross profit analysis like I have on the screen. Excel does a great job of offering you some charts and graphs that you can add into your reports as well. So whether it's sales data or inventory data, please be aware that how we compare to a BI tool that might have some of that capability, Excel really does hold its own when it comes to that ability to add your management kind of dashboards. So again, in the same way that you would analyze your data, I think we have some numbers on consolidated there. Your charts will automatically refresh when you're refreshing those. Now for today, I did want to speak about some specific templates because, again, some of those pain points that you guys might be feeling when you're inside Acumatica and you print off your GL transaction listing. Okay, how many pages does that come up with? And then how do you scroll to the right section of those GL transactions you're looking for? So here is an example where we have actually built a generic inquiry and a Velixo report that offers you an option to filter the data that's part of that GI. Okay, so simply adding in the generic inquiry plus the Velixo filter here, you are now using a live method to choose the account you want to look at, choose the period you want to look at, and instantly gain access to the detailed transactions. Okay, so much easier to turn this into a live report inside Velixo. You don't have to run off those pages and pages inside the standard report. So in the same way, moving away now from,
hold on. There is one question.
Okay.
Leanne asks, can the drill downs be customized on the fly by the report developers? And I would probably answer that, Leanne, and it's probably been answered because basically Velixo will read GIs. It will also read data connections. So there's probably really no need to actually have a report developer create a report.
Correct. So if you have those GLs already, you can just reuse those. And as I mentioned, we have a lot of templates that might be a great place to start. More than happy to loop back to that question, Leanne, if we've not quite answered everything that you were looking for there. So just, moving on from GL data, we know that Velixo is able to extract the data from those other modules. So in this example, I'm extracting accounts receivable transactions, and again, using a generic inquiry to bring the data together. Velixo is now filtering and telling us which columns of those particular GIs I would like to extract. So there's a number of reasons why you might want to do this. One of those is within MYOB, you don't quite have a lot of flexibility with how you might configure the aging buckets. 30, 60, 90 days. Some customers have unique requirements and may want to rejig those. So by extracting the data, you can see you have your document date, your due date. You're able to just have an Excel formula that classifies that in a particular bucket for you. And then you're able to summarize that. So nice and easily with Excel charts, again, pivot table, looking up my underlying transactions, I'm able to analyze the 30, 60, 90 days of my customers here with some nice graphs and charts again, as I need. So helping your teams really make the most of their time if their job is doing this collections and giving them the data that they need to be able to analyze those. In the same way, we've got a creditors report like that. The final one that I wanted to just pull up is our inventory report. So we have probably about 6 or 7 pre-built inventory templates. That's not to say that you can't add more. You download this one, inventory days of supply. You can add more columns of info to this. But here we are extracting all of your stock items plus their descriptions, the quantity of stock on hand, some of the sales information like the average daily sales cost, average days late of delivery supply. So this is helping you then to actually go and calculate this this last column, days of supply. And so when you're about to, place new orders, you need all this information together so you can accurately only hold the stock that you need to and not take up valuable storage space. So a lot of those teams, this is important information. You know that the data sits inside MYOB. Velixo can really help unlock the ability for you to get to the data put it in a meaningful analysis that will help you make those decisions in your business. So those are all methods of extracting the data out. The next topic that we want to cover off is now some of those write back options. So how do we send some data back which makes sense? Okay, so I'm just jumping back to my master file and we'll talk about journals and budgets next. So the example I want to show you for our journals is you think about those standard monthly journals that you might be creating. Some of them are really month on month, pretty much similar GL accounts that you're using. The calculations are similar. So why not set them up in a template and then let Velixo do that heavy lifting for you? So this example is an insurance accrual. I'm using Velixo formulas to extract the actuals that were posted for various accounts here by branch. And then I'm using Excel calculations with some inputs, GL rate and tax rate, to ultimately calculate my journal. Okay. Now, every month you can open up your template, you make any final tweaks that you need to update the date. You'll see there is also some header information like, do you want to automatically release this journal? Do you want to open it after you've imported it? You can have these journals set up as auto-reversing ones. We're interacting with a lot of the MYOB features that you have there. But ultimately then when you are ready, you can just come over here to perform write back and you can do the current sheet. Now, the reason why we have some other options in here is you can highlight multiple sheets and just do all of the journals at once, or within your layout, you might choose specific lines that you only want to create in that journal and skip a few on a particular month. So it's nice and simple. It gives the user those options, and you'll see now it's asking me, yep, I'm going to create a new batch, and it will go and create this batch for me inside MYOB. So nobody had to manually enter these lines. Check that the GL accounts and sub accounts were all correct. Check that the amounts were not, typed in wrong, made mistakes. But you're just saving time. Okay, so this is really very, valuable in terms of that month-end process. In the same way, we have templates and we can help with budgeting, and our customers are really using Excel already for a lot of their budget models. And so rather than, building your budget, having those 12 periods of data sets that you need to go back and update line by line, cost center by cost center into Acumatica in a budget, all you need to do is add in the Velixo budget write back formula to your sheet. And this will then go and plug all the data into the right place, into the right ledger. So at the top, you can tell it which budget ledger you want to use, which year, which branch. In this case, I'm using the Melbourne branch. So it can then go and plug all these numbers for you into that budget ledger. Okay, so you can either do that line by line, you can do it for a few lines, you can highlight the rows you want to send back into MYOB and choose write back of those selected cells, or when you've done the whole Melbourne branch budget, you can just write back the whole sheet. Okay, so what we find with customers is they are doing a lot more forecasting, quarterly forecast, because this budget process where you go through a massive exercise once a year, it takes a lot of time. But doing it with Velixo in this way means that you can quickly go and do a reforecast. You might want to model up just a small increase of 5% across a number of your GL accounts, send that back in, and then instantly go and measure your actuals against those forecasts. So people do end up being a lot more, closer to actuals, budgets, and using that forecast ability. So now we spoke about the GL write-back sections, but just something that I wanted to highlight today is universal write-back. So this feature is loved and used by lots of our customers. I know, Di, we had Chris Miller join us from Alchemex on the call today.
He's here on the
call,
well. Yeah.
Chris has got some amazing stories how he's helped customers using Velixo with this universal write-back feature. Maybe you have a lot of inventory price lists and it's a nightmare for you to update those for every customer, for every unique product category that you're adding in. Maybe you're doing a lot of quoting and you want those quotes inside Excel to be turned into active orders. Universal write-back can be used to send any data back in to MYOB Acumatica. So these examples we'll talk more about, but certainly this is how our customers leverage Velixo across their business, not just in the financial areas.
Of course, when it does do that write back, it absolutely observes all the business rules that are actually in Acumatica. So you can't do something like put in a one-sided journal entry or anything like that. It won't allow you to do that. But it will allow you to update data for inventory items or debtors or creditors. Sorry, Tony.
Lovely. Thanks, Di. No, all good. So look, we've got some great content to still cover today. And one of the features I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about is distribution. And so we've got kind of two sections. We have a whole distribution section here, which I'll talk through on this sheet, but we also have a slice function. So if you are a customer who has got multiple cost centers or multiple departments within your business that you operate, and you kind of have to create those combinations. I want a P&L for all 10 of my cost centers. I want a inventory listing by category sent to these 5 branch managers. This slicing of your data can take a lot of manual time, lots of clicks. So the ability to bring up a slice and actually, configure what you want that to look like. Just before we actually jump to the distribution list screen, I might just show you a typical slice screen here. So you can imagine that you can configure any branches, and then what's very important is you'll have this option here to remove formulas. So I like to pause on this because customers why do I want to remove those Velixo formulas? So everything we showed you today is for a user who has this connection to the MYOB data. So they're able to open the report, refresh it, get the new data pulled down. But you might now want to share this report with a board member who may not actively be connecting to your MYOB system and refreshing it themselves, okay? Or you might share it with a supplier who also is not going to be having that connection. So the data that you want to share with them will be essentially a sliced version of that data. So this feature will let you copy and paste the values without having to manually take care of those things. So our customers love it. Every time we talk to them, we hear different use cases. Hey, I can send my statements out, my copies of my invoices to my customers by PDF, by Excel attachments in an email, many different use cases for how you might want to send data back out. So in your distribution list, you can basically build as many of those scenarios as you need, okay? So I'll just highlight this one scenario to talk through the example. I want to send a profit and loss report by branch, just of these 2 branches, head office and Melbourne branch, to my P&L manager, Tony, and I'm going to choose the option to remove the Velixo formulas, okay? So what that will do is it will actually let me create this Excel file without those formulas and send the email off to the person I nominate here. Now, when we send this out, you have options here how you want to either actually send it straight away or save the draft, all these kind of options further. So it's again really powerful. I'll just jump to my drafts. I prepared one earlier for you there and bring it up. And essentially you'll end up with your report with all of your attachments then as an Excel file. Okay. So the difference here is that these reports now do not have Velixo formulas in them. They are the final ones with the values. So they are then shared with the appropriate audience that you wanted. Okay. So distribution, if you are in the room today, you already have Velixo, you may not be using this feature, check it out. It's going to really save you time and get out those data sets. Remember, it's not only for financial reports. Any of your reports can be filtered and then sent out. You can also save them down to a folder path. So you might not want to email them. You might want to just save them on the network somewhere. Okay, so we'll come back for one final showcase, but I do believe, Ben, we have another poll we wanted to run.
Yes, correct. I will just run that now. So based on the demonstration today, what feature would you most like to see? Would you like to see a live refresh of financial or operational reporting? Journal, budget, bulk data right back to MYOB Acumatica, where you're spending a lot of manual time and a lot of manual processes. Transaction drill down functionality, which we know Giuseppe had talked about and raved about. Entity consolidation reporting. So if you have lots of entities and you struggle to consolidate that information into one spreadsheet or see it live. Report automation and distribution. Anything else? I'll just check once again that that poll is working.
Yes, yep, the poll's working, and it's kind of interesting to see that 29% are talking about report automation and distribution, which is kind of interesting to see, and definitely the live refresh of financial and operational reporting. I think that was the main reason why Velixo was developed, isn't it, Tony? That it was all about that financial reporting and observing the financial periods.
Yes, absolutely, Di. The refresh of all of your data, at the point in time that you need to see it. Absolutely. Lovely. Well, thanks for that. I think the interaction with the audience in a session like today is so important because, we have so many features and this helps certainly steer those conversations. At the end of the day, it is about benefits. So some of the things that our customers say, what Velixo helps with, you heard about it today. Giuseppe mentioned time saving, less manual work. These are things that we've captured. Oh, my slides jumped on. Things that we've captured around where you can expect those savings to come from. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, the final thing I do want to talk about and show you today is Velixo Intelligence. So Ben and I were having a conversation about AI, and MYOB Acumatica had some great updates that they recently shared at the Discover Live event, certainly investing into the product from an AI perspective, and a lot of great ways that will help you, find ways that you can take AI into your own business. Now, every customer is embracing AI at a different stage, at a different pace. So Velixo Intelligence is our way to help you continue that embracing of AI in your world. So as you can see on my screen here, we talk about a number of agents. This is actually going to be already released next week. First week of August is when it drops for all our existing clients. There will be a guide agent that will guide the users through simple questions around, the help and the knowledge-based access. The analyst agent will help you analyze the actual results. Whatever data you're looking at, you're able to ask the analyst agent anything that it can help you interpret the results of what you're looking at. The report builder agent, our customers are going to love. No more do you have to think about, how do I build this 12 columns of this report? You can just tell it, build me a report with 12 columns, one for each, actual month and one for the budget. And finally, we'll have a dynamic, agent there around the narrative. So things that you might want to plug into your reports, those executive summaries. So I'm just coming out, and I thought I would just spend 2 minutes pulling up my report again and showing you Velixo Intelligence in action. So we're just jumping to my profit and loss report, and if you think about, where it makes sense, which data you want to analyze, just physically, I can see that for my service and utilities in the month of February, I've spent quite a bit less than what the other months tend to be in my data here. So you might just want to analyze a section of your expenses, a couple of months, and that's where you can then open up Velixo Intelligence. And you can literally just tell it to analyze this section. So this will automatically, look at the highlighted section that you have made. It will grab the analyst agent, and now it's going to think and provide me some commentary back around the section of expenses that I've highlighted. Okay. So I know that our customers are going to love this feature. It's going to come up as just an awesome place to have a little play, see what the agent, Velixo Intelligence is going to help you do. When you're forecasting, when you're looking at your actuals, have you missed something in the month? Really just lean on it. It's secure, remember, because you're inside your Excel instance. You have your connection to your data, so your user is authenticated to access this information. This is a very important aspect with AI and what data we want to put out there. Okay, so we're at the Q&A section, Ben. I think we've had a few questions, Diane, as they've popped in. Is there anything else that we need to answer?
Yes, definitely. There's a few questions from Leanne. I just want to roll back, Leanne. Leanne's asking, do we still need to do a GI first before we can extract data?
No, you do not need to do a GI first. We have a Velixo agent that will be called the analyst, and I can loop back with Leanne and show her how to do that. You don't have to have a GI.
Yep. And the biggest question of all, is the AI agent built in, or does it reach out to use the public models, which is such a big thing that Acumatica is considering as well, is that in their tool for building their AI agents, etc., within Acumatica, it's all stays within the environment and it's not heading out into the wild and putting
Correct.
all of your financial data. I think the big word that both Acumatica and MYOB are using is the word trust. That you have to, your data, your financial data won't go out into the wilds.
Correct, 100%. So we can share some, all the terms that we've updated on the Velixo side, specifically relating to AI and some of those models that we're using, etc., just to make sure customers feel that confidence and that the trust is there.
Yep. And that's about it for questions. A few people have indicated that they've had to duck off, so they're going to listen to the recording, which I understand. The only other comment I'll also make is we have Chris Miller on the call at the moment. Chris, I'll leave you muted, but Chris does a lot of the work for us in developing some of the more complicated models. Is probably the best way to put it, Tony?
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. I think, the Acacia team has got that relationship really sorted in terms of when to bring Chris in. Chris does a great job working with clients on those unique requirements and can brainstorm some great use cases together. So over to you, Ben. We have the fun part of today and some next steps to discuss.
Yes, great. Thank you, Tony. So as you can see on the screen there, next steps, you can sign up now, obviously. Should you choose to, book a Velixo demo, so you can actually book in a time to speak directly with Tony and myself, and we could go through and tailor it to your business. If you're starting to think about particular use cases for your business, that's a great opportunity there. And you can also start a 14-day free trial of the software, so you can really get in there and start using it without having to commit to it first. So we're just going to run our final poll for today. So I'm just going to do that now. So what would be your most useful next step now that we've had the demonstration today, and you can see all the functionality and potential use cases that you can apply to your business. Would you like a tailored demonstration, a reporting health check to see what's going on with your reporting right now? Maybe you're thinking you can optimize it in some sort of way. Any pricing information on Velixo, or are you keen to move ahead with a free 14-day trial? Let us know.
So we're getting some responses, Ben, a lot around the pricing information, which they can come straight to you. That you don't have to come for me for pricing, you can go to Ben. And a few people have also asked for a free 14-day trial for their site. So I think we'll follow you up after this session to actually speak to you. Well, Ben's email's on there, on the screen, so you can actually take a note of Ben's email and actually contact him directly if that's like. So lots of people are looking for pricing. Very interesting. Oh, thank you, Ben. Ben's put his email in there.
We've got a
We've got
a question there from Leanne. Yep.
Yeah, does the trial require any upgrade? No. And Leanne, I think you're on the latest version anyway. I think we upgraded you recently, so I think you'll be fine connecting in.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, wow.
All right. So here we are right at the end of the session, the most exciting part. We're going to do a spin the wheel. So I'm just going to share my screen, and I think I've got all the attendees up to date. For all of you who stuck around to the end, well done. You might have a Velixo hamper coming your way. So let's get to it.
Did you take me out? That's not fair. I wanted to be in the draw as well.
All righty.
Oh,
John, well done.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Balloons, happy. Some wine and chocolates are on the way to you.
That's
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. If you can send through your best available address, John, we'll get that sent off to you as soon as possible.
Maybe just email it directly to Ben.
Thank you.
Yeah, email it directly to me. It would be great.
So I'd like to thank you all for sticking around. As you can see, the power of Velixo is immense. You're probably limited only by your imagination about what you might want to do with getting data out and putting data back in. I think anyone who has any background in data, like Leanne, I'd suggest you actually do a free trial and look at all the template models that come as part of that trial, because there's a lot of templates. Also, on the Velixo website, there's heaps of videos and presentations to give you a lot of tools. Am I stealing your thunder, Tony? Please stop me if I am.
Not at all. Thank you so much.
There's so much information that you can actually find out about how people are using Velixo and to build your own knowledge as well. And of course, we also have access to Chris, who's been in the room all day, his team develops some really complex models if you need complex models. So thank you all for coming. Thank you, Tony, for spending some time with us. I really appreciate you talking with our clients. Thank you, Ben, for coming up with the idea and wanting clients to see as much as possible.